The importance of keeping your blood sugar within range, at range in a 24-hour period, right? So they said patients with type 2 diabetes who stay in blood glucose range of 70 to 180 milligram per deciliter, at least 70% of the time, have the lowest rate of major adverse coronary events. Microvascular disease, so it's the complications such as the eye disease, the need for amputation, the heart disease, the kidney disease, kidney failure, blindness, those things. So they're saying basically if you keep those in range, that it's less of a chance of you developing those complications. So the holiday season is especially challenging, and I brought my friend to meet you. So please welcome Miss Andra. She's gonna go, share her experiences with you, and hope that the information will be inspiring to you and will help you. Okay, please welcome Miss Andra to the Crunk family. Andra?
Hello, everybody. My name is Andra, and I'm actually living in Georgia. And Miss Angela and I became good friends because a friend of mine actually referred her to me because I was having issues controlling my diabetes. So I was giving her a number, and she started working with me one-on-one to help me to control and maintain my diabetes. And it was an experience. It wasn't the most easiest of time, but with her helping her patients, and she's super, super patient, guys, super, super patient. So she was able to help me to not only get my blood sugar numbers in a accessible range, but to also learn how to eat and handle my food better. I pretty much thought I had a handle on how I was eating because I grew up with a mom who was diabetic. So because of that, I thought I was really doing good, and I pretty much knew how to have my food. But I realized I wasn't doing it because every time I went to the doctor, my blood sugar was always out of control. At the time when I met Miss Angela, my blood sugar was at, I believe it was at 11, is that correct, Angela? 11, A1C?
Yes, about that.
It was somewhere around 11 was my A1C. They were threatening to put me on insulin and all that. And so I started talking to her on the phone, getting on a regimen, had me walking, which I never did, had me walking and, keeping my numbers, checking my blood sugar 3 to 4 times a day to make sure I was in an acceptable range. Now, it wasn't easy, like I said, when I started out, but when I started within a 3-month period, just about 3 months or so, is that correct, Angela? About 3 months? I had the doctor's appointment, and my A1C went from 11 points to actually, it was to at 8 points. I dropped, actually, Angela, it was more than 11 because I dropped 8 points, because I dropped actually 4 points when I went to the doctor. So I think it was a 12 or around there. So
and that is super. That is super, super. So you know she worked hard at it, because most people are able to only drop like 1% in that span of time. But the number that she did, it's really amazing. She was willing. It's that willingness and that desire. She was ready. You were ready. And that's why you did it. Because it's hard for people to shed even 1%. And usually when you make an individual goal with someone, you make it for 1% in 3 months. But you did super.
Right. My doctor was really, really impressed when I went back to her. She was super impressed. She could not believe it. She was so shocked that she wanted me to come back the next month to redo my blood work to make sure I was doing right. And I went back and I still maintained where I was. I do desire to get my number at the lower rate. And my desire is actually to be off the diabetic medication, not to be on it. But I understand that it takes patience patience, and it's me willing to do the work. It's not easy, guys, because just about everything that we love to eat is what they're telling us we can't have. But what I found out with Miss Angela is not so much that I can't have it, but I have to know how to eat. I have to know how and when to eat. So that was the good thing with talking to her. And, she was like, if I had a high blood sugar in the morning when I wake up, we will talk about it. And she was like, okay, let's see what we can do different. So I was at that point learning how to balance my blood sugar, balance the food that I was actually eating. I was learning how to incorporate those foods. So that was a good thing for me.
Share with them, how do you manage over the holiday? The holiday season is the especially difficult period for most people to handle what they're eating, because there are lots of good stuff. They look good, smell good, and they taste good.
Well, the holiday season for me, I just transitioned from a couple of years ago from New York down to Georgia. So I'm here by myself. I was invited over to a friend's home for Thanksgiving. I had to make a couple of dishes and take over. In New York, it wasn't bad for me because I used to feed my family, sometimes 20, 30 people in my house at a time. But I never ate on Thanksgiving night because I was always too tired after cooking. But this year, I didn't have that family to cook for. So I thought it would have, I was basically going to somebody else's house and eating there besides taking a few dishes. But what I did when I went there, because my girlfriend has always bragged on me about her mac and cheese and macaroni and cheese. She makes the best macaroni and cheese. I personally think my mom makes the best macaroni and cheese, and I just all hands down. So when I went to my girlfriend's house, everybody was getting ready to have dinner, and I got up and I said, okay, she had a buffet style. And I said, you know what? I'm going to taste her mac and cheese to see how good it is before I even start eating. So the first thing I put on my plate was mac and cheese. When I tasted that mac and cheese, at that point, it was so good, I knew I had to make a sacrifice because I just wanted to eat this mac and cheese. And I know at that point I had to make it up in my mind. You're going to eat this mac and cheese, but you're going to have to sacrifice something else. And so what I did was I put another spoon of mac and cheese on my plate, and I went and I sat down and ate the mac and cheese. And that was my Thanksgiving dinner. It's about knowing how the food affects your body, knowing what you're not supposed to eat, and knowing how to portion yourself. I knew at that point there was going to be another day that I could eat the rest of the stuff. So instead of me sitting down and eating everything that night, I ate the thing that I desired the most, and that was macaroni and cheese, and brought home a plate for the next day. So that's how, what we have to do, being diabetic, it's such a hard road because, like I said in the beginning, a lot of the food that they tell us we cannot have is what we really want to eat, is what tastes good, is what looks good. But you have to make it up in your mind that you are either going to sacrifice for that moment, because it's not something you have to do for the rest of your life, but that's for that moment. If you see something that you really want to have it, I've okayed myself to have it, but have it in a proportion to what a reasonable portion of what I'm supposed to have. I prepare myself to do that, and not knowing that there's going to be another day that I can have what I want to have. So that's what I did on this Thanksgiving. This might not be the ideal thing for someone else to do, but one of the things that I've learned also to do is the good food. I love salads. I love vegetables. So what I do is when I'm sitting down to eat, I make sure the good stuff is what I have on my plate the most. I'm loading on my plate with salad. I'm loading on my plate with different types of vegetables. And then I can take that good stuff that I like to eat But by the time I get to it, my belly is just about full. My stomach is just about full. So now I can still get the taste of it, but I'm not eating as much of it. So it doesn't have to be a total sacrifice diet. It can be, you just have to get into that frame of mind where you say, okay, what do I want to live or do I want to die? And that's where I was at.
It's hard work. It's definitely hard work. It takes discipline.
Yeah, it
And
does. It does.
yeah, but it's doable with the commitment, patience, and having a support system as well. Just just a little person there to say it's okay, we're working. It's
Right.
it's a big part of just being there for you, because someone's showing you that they understand. Sometimes doing it alone, your emotions get the best of you, so it makes a difference, and that you in your mind says, I'm ready, because some people
Right.
are absolutely not ready. And what would you say to people who are not ready to make the commitment to adjust in their lifestyle? It's because it's a lifestyle. The exercise and what you eat, all of that. What would you recommend? What else would you recommend to them?
Well, the first thing I'll say about that is what you just touched on, Ms. Angela, is having a good support system. When I came across you, when I was introduced to you, you were that support system to me. And one of the things that made me take this thing so serious was the amount of time you chose to spend with me. And I thought it would be unfair for somebody to spend this much time out of their day for me to play around. And at the end of the day, I know it was for my own good. So because of that, I knew I had to really do what I was supposed to do, because at the end of the day, you could find a lot of things that you could have done with that time that you spent with me. So that was one of the reasons why I was determined to at least try to get something done where there was an improvement in what I need to happen in my life as far as me and this diabetes. And so if you can get somebody to support with you, somebody to walk with you, somebody who will support you, to give you an encouragement, that goes a long way. But if you're alone and you can't find that, then one of the things that I would say to you is to just think for a moment, stop and think for a moment um, about the ones that you would leave behind when you get so sick, or even if you don't leave them behind, when the diabetes has ravaged your body, because it's really a bad disease. It really takes a toll on your body, to how dependent you're going to come to become to someone, how dependent you are on them, how much you're going to take away from their life if they're gonna now have to take you in and take care of you. Do you want to do that for a family member when it's something that you can control? It's different if something happens and it's nothing in your control, and you say, okay, the family member say, okay, they will make that sacrifice to be with you, to have to take care of you. But when it's something that you could control, why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Why would you want to allow, because of something like food? Without it, we will die. But with it, we can also die. So we have to take those things into consideration, when we are sitting there and we're just doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we have to take into consideration what we want to do. Do we want to become a bother to someone, or do we want to be able to live our life independently as long as possible and be, an asset to our family?
Thank you so much for that. Sometimes the just like you said, exercising was one of the things that you initially incorporated. How did you feel when you first started doing the doing exercises, and what kind of exercises do you do?
Well, initially, it's not something that I wanted to do because I'm just not, I'm 54 years old. I was a gym member when I was in my 20s, in my early 30s. I just had enough of that, and I just didn't feel like exercising anymore. You know, with that being said, I gained some weight, and I was pretty much not. It just didn't want to do it. That's what I told myself. I didn't want to do it. So when I started out walking, and this is another thing. I had a support base with me because I would walk around my house. Actually, I started walking in my house, going from my kitchen to my dining room, going around in a circle in my house. And that's how I started. I started out doing 10 minutes a day, and I did that morning, noon, and evening. Every time I was having a meal, I would do that. And then I went from 20 minutes, 10 minutes to 20 minutes, and then I was doing 30 minutes a day. And then I had a cousin of mine who said to me, I'll go walk with you. So on the weekends when he's off, he would actually take me and we'll walk in my subdivision. My subdivision from the front to the top is about 3/4 of a mile. So we will walk
Wow.
up to the top, we'll walk up to the top, and we'll walk to the back to my house. And that's how I started doing it. And believe me, when you have someone with you, you're walking and you're chatting, you don't even realize how quickly that time goes by and that you have actually walked a mile and a half. You don't realize that you have done it. So that's how it started with me. But like I said, it started right in my house, and the downstairs of my house, I walked through my, just doing circles, kept going, playing my gospel music, and, or sometimes I'll have someone on the phone with me. Someone will call me in the morning, and before I know it, I've walked for half an hour.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter, it takes a lot of discipline, guys. It's just a matter of you having a mind made up. Because, like you said at the beginning, Angela, not everybody is ready to do it. But what I would suggest that you guys do is not think big. No, because the bigger you think, the harder it is to do it. If you're saying, I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to start to exercise 5 days a week, you're never going to get to it.
Start where you are.
Start where you are. Start small and add up from there. And before you know it, you would have accomplished so much. Because when I went to the doctor, I know I had improved. But I really, honestly, did not believe that I had dropped that much in my A1C. I really didn't believe it. When she told me that, it was I had so much joy that I actually cried. My doctor was standing there and looking at me, and he was like, I can't believe it. I was actually crying, and I could not wait to have this conversation with Angela to let her know what was going on. Angela, you remember how excited I was that she told me? Yeah,
I remember. I remember. Absolutely, Andra. I really appreciate you sharing your path.
Yeah.
I'm, excited that you're sharing your path with us and inspiring people. You will inspire some people will still not get it, but I hope that one day they will reflect on this discussion and take that leap to try, because going to the doctor will do a great part of it, but they're not living with you. They're not with you 24/7.
Right.
You're with yourself 24/7. They might be with you for a half an hour, if that much, or a few minutes. It's not going to solve all your problems. And sometimes by the time you leave, you don't even remember half of what they told you to do.
Sure.
So it's
But
so
you know,
important
if
to
I
have
was
the,
a blessing, if I was a blessing to share my testimony, my what happened to me and share my journey with someone, I hope you guys can, will benefit from that. I hope you'll take it one day at a time, and just one day that you will too will have a wonderful story to tell. And my story, it doesn't stop here, guys. It's a daily journey for me, because like I said, my desire is to be totally off the medication. So I know there's so much further that I have to go. But it's doable. It's doable.
thank you so much. So Lester,
Yes, yes.
there you have it. There you have it. Thank you so much, Andra.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Lester,
Yeah,
thank you for having me. Thank you.
yeah,
Anytime.
yeah. The pandemic is still in full swing and killing people every day. So it's so important that it's so important to take some of what Andre is saying into place, even though getting healthy food is not easy, but it's important not to uh, eat a lot of certain kind of food that's going to affect your blood sugar worse than others. You have to monitor and see how things are affecting your body, because your body and someone else might be different, right? So you want to make sure that you monitor, because the pandemic is here, and here it is that you're battling the disease. It can make your condition worse. It can make a bad outcome worse. So you want to be there for your family, and you want to be there for yourself. You don't want to cheat yourself. So it's important to try during the holiday season, during this pandemic, to stay within range. It takes nothing. The gym is not open. As Andra said, you go out there, you walk. You walk around in your house, up and down around your house. Whatever it is, you start where you are. Start where you are. During the pandemic, what happened? Do you hear over and over the complications, because people have underlying problems before? So they have more problems, the corona virus on top of it, and their body can't fight off all these inflammation or insults that are affecting the body. Diabetes also weaken your body's ability to fight. So try to fix it. If the researchers are saying if you stay within, your blood sugar stays within range of 70 to 180 on a daily basis, on a 24-hour basis, that you have a better chance of not having these complications or delaying the onset of these complications. Andra is telling you also that it's not just you that's affected, your families are affected as well, because they love you and they care about you, and you're pulling them along with you. They don't want to see you not well. And I've shared stories about my dad and all the complications that happened to my dad. I am committed to helping anyone who is ready to manage their blood sugar better. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to me. I just will work with you. It doesn't take anything. My time is important, but I think God has blessed me to be able to share something. I might not be able to give you money, but I might be able to give you something that will keep paying you for a very long time to come, and that's your health. Help you with managing your health. So, Lester, do you have any questions or any concern or?
Well,
What do you?
The only concern we have is getting you on the station at least twice a month. That's the only concern we have. Because the information that you give is very, very informative. It touches a lot of people. It gives them a lot to think about. So,
Definitely. I'm hoping that it actually inspires, people, because for me, I lecture a lot. That is not I'm happy that Andra was able to put another twist to it to let everybody know it's a challenge. It's a daily challenge. It's something that if you want to be healthy, or if you want to address the blood sugar thing, you really have to put some time and effort into it. You don't start to do, it's like looking at a rock versus a pebble. Which one do you pick up first? The big rock or the pebbles? You want to go for the pebbles.
that is so true. And, well, come 2021, I keep saying this. We have a lot of things in store. We have a lot of good people like yourself who are willing to give back to the community. And it's up to the community to step forward and take this information and use it. We ain't giving out no prizes. We ain't feeding nobody. We ain't having no big get-together. And when we do have those get-togethers, it's all going to be education and health-oriented. That's it.
Absolutely.
The health in the black community is going to hell in a handbag.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Pandemic. Yeah.
It really is.
Makes it more. Yeah. Because we have so many underlying issues already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to top it off, can you imagine sitting inside and you're waiting for the gym to open, or waiting to sign up for the gym? The gym costs money. Your money is limited might be limited during the pandemic. Why not go walk in a couple of blocks? Walk, listen to your radio, go do something. Be physically active, because that's what your body needs. We eat a lot, like we're working some massive job that we need to, all this energy. Food is energy, and we're not using it, so it sits on us and complicate things. So I keep saying it, over and over and repeating it, and it's because I'm a caregiver. I'm a daughter of someone who has diabetes very, very bad. That my wonderful, beautiful, loving father has the complications of diabetes that he has to live with. And I can't get to enjoy my daddy the way that I normally did. Why? I used to talk to him about eating. I used to watch him eat things. I would talk to him. I was the wrong person for him, but I'm glad that I was the right person for Andra. And that is the reason why I was very committed to her. I'm still committed to her because I check on her from time to time, and she will give me feedback. So I am very excited. And some people you work with, they're not so open. They're ashamed that they have this diagnosis, but it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it's that place they're not at this time. But it's okay. I can work with them without having to share their story. They're not at that place yet, and it's okay. So I was excited when Anja told me. I said, "Would you mind sharing it with the Crunk family?" And she said, "Sure." So I really, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate her, because lecturing doesn't tell the full story. But hearing it from someone who is having the challenge every day, who has to work at it every day, makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping that you'll take that knowledge of yours, put it on a piece of paper with a picture of yourself and a phone number that you want people to contact you, because we're putting together a information booklet to hand out to people when they come out to our seminars or when we go to people's churches and schools and all that stuff. It's just a booklet that if you're having problems with diabetes, Angela Beesons always says, I'm not your doctor. Always consult with your doctor. I'm just giving you life tips. Drink more water. Use less sugar. Blah, 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 blah. Walk more. Exercise more. Put down the bread. Put down the rice. Put down the potatoes. Eat more greens.
It's not to totally put down anything.
Right.
Not totally.
It's to eat it in moderation.
Yeah, moderation.
But, when you get that first scoop of potatoes with the gravy, it tastes so good. You get a second scoop
so
and a third scoop.
But when you check yourself, guess what? You're going to say, I did this. This is the effect of this on me. I'm going to have to cut down the next time.
Right.
So it's a reality check too.
Yeah.
It allows you to check yourself. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say it gives the people an idea of what they should be doing. Instead of grabbing that glass of soda, grab a glass of water, squeeze a lemon or a lime in it.
Yeah.
Your body craves the sugar because you keep giving it sugar.
Absolutely. It's a drug.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's a drug.
It really is.
And the thing is, do you know that there's like 86 million people have pre-diabetes. So whether you have been diagnosed as diabetes or not, you should pay attention because it can happen because of our lifestyle. It can happen because of our lifestyle, right? So it's important to pay attention, because do you want the doctor to tell you that you're diabetic before you have pre-diabetes before you try to fix yourself? Even though it's when the doctor tells you, that's why you need to do your annual checks. When the doctor tells you that, you go, okay, I have to work on it. It's something constantly that you have to work on, and that doctor might not see you for another year. And during that time, things are adding up. So it's important to do the annual checkup, take the information in stride, and use it for something. You don't have to be diabetic to watch what you're eating, because there's so many people who don't know that they have diabetes and they're walking with it.
Yeah.
They're living with it until the big complication, the wham. That's when they realize, oh my gosh, in the meantime, you're doing a lot of damages to your organ.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
When I switched to a new doctor, out at Winthrop Hospital, I went to the doctor's office. First the technicians take your weight, your height, then the nurse comes in or the phlebotomist takes your blood and all this stuff and asks you the 99 questions, and then they feed it all into the computer. Now at Winthrop, as she's feeding his stuff into the computer, the doctor is in the other room reading it. I didn't know that.
Right.
I didn't know that. I thought she was just putting it in and he's going to read it when he comes in. No, he's in his office waiting for her to come out and go, okay, Lester's ready. As she's typing it in, he's reading it. So when he comes in, he asks me certain questions. I'm like, yeah, how do you know that already? Maybe it's a lucky guess. Yeah. So the first thing he did to me was, he says, Lester, can you stand up? So I stood up. And he pinched the back of my neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pinched the back of my head. Because, you got the little fat in the back of your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I see you're pre-diabetic. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how you tell that from pinching my neck and pinching my head? He goes, what do you see on the wall over there? This is a funny doctor, Dr. Carl.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, what do you see on the wall over there? I'm like, your degree from college. He goes, so I'm the doctor, right? I said, oh, snap. I said, yeah, Dr. Carl. Okay, case closed. He says, you're pre-diabetic. He says, before I even take your blood and everything, well, they took the blood, but the results didn't come back. They could do the finger stick and get your sugar and all that stuff.
Right.
So when he got the sugar back, it was a little high. He goes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be sticking a needle in your arm real soon, buddy. He goes, listen, this is not anything to play with. Mm-hmm. He says, you need to get your weight under control. All my levels was all off.
Yeah.
And I'm still a patient of Dr. Carl's today. And everything is
Thank God.
So good. But he still says, when I went to see him a couple of weeks ago, he says, Bless, you're still in that pre-diabetic range. You got to get it under control, man. You got to do better. And I knew what like you said, over the holidays, I drive buses and trucks, so I know I'm not supposed to have that hot dog with the onions and the mustard and the bag of potato chips and the soda. But as a truck driver, what else do you have to eat? You want something fast you can hold in your hand,
Yes.
Even though I see the guy with the fruits outside. But there's the hot dog guy. And hot dogs are smelling good.
Yes.
And he has homemade onions. He makes his own onions, and got that soft, what's that bread? Potato bread,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, my God. First bite. And then he's got the hot dogs that snap when you bite them, that thin casing, like, you see me talking about it now?
Yes, it's mouth watering.
It is.
And yes, you can have it. So you wanted the hot dog.
Oh,
you didn't. It wasn't the potato chips and the soda that you were really interested in.
It was the hot dog.
So you go for what you wanted.
Then I got the chips and the soda just to
what else
tap it off.
Can you do around there as well? What else could you have added to it?
I could have had the hot dog without the mustard and the onions, minus the potato chip. Scrap the soda, get the water.
You could have had your onions, your mustard if you want.
Yeah.
Maybe the amount of mustard, because mustard also has a hint of carbohydrate in a certain amount of it.
See.
And you have the carbohydrate, the bread.
Right.
So the bread would be, I think it's about 15 grams.
Yeah, but it doesn't help when you eat that every day.
So every day. So
driving a truck,
you have to be trading something.
Driving
you have to be
a
looking
bus.
At trade-offs, because you can't have hot dog every day.
See, but
you have to decide, consciously decide.
And if it's not a hot dog,
maybe one day you have the chips. Maybe the other day you have the hot dog.
But it's every day.
But you skip something. Or
every
take
day.
a half of that and a half of that. But you have to have some kind of mix and match.
Right. Well, I mean, listen. Like you say, it's a lifestyle. It's not easy.
Yes.
But
no, it's not.
When he told me, you're going to go straight past the pill, right to the needle, buddy. This is not a joke. You know, he says, and in the black community, he's a Caucasian doctor. He says, in the black community, you guys suffer with high blood pressure, hypertension.
And that's a silent killer.
Stress. He even threw in stress. He says, listen, he said, I like fried chicken. I like
Mm-hmm.
pork. He said, "Well, I'm Italian." He said, "What do you think? All that funny name stuff. We eating pork, man. We eat the same stuff y'all
Mm-hmm.
eat. We just cook it differently.
Lots of
But fried chicken is
sausage.
fried chicken. You know, pork is pork.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not eating anything different from what the black community is eating. You know, you just and he's got a
Yeah.
little weight on him. You know, he says, "Listen, my wife
Mm-hmm.
cooks all the time." He said, "And I'm a doctor and I know better. And I gotta say, listen,
Mm-hmm.
honey, please, no pasta for the next couple of weeks. No, that." He says, "My wife is
Right.
Italian. She cooks and she cooks and she cooks and she cooks. And how long can you avoid that stuff? But if you don't want to put a needle in your arm, or you don't want to have to go to the doctor because you got kidney failure, or you got to get your foot amputated, or you're having problem with your eyes, you know, you keep
Mm-hmm.
getting lightheaded and feel like you're going to pass out, you'll change quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we would love for you to come out to some of our seminars when you can and give these same speeches about drinking more water, walking more, you know, the A1C and all this stuff. What does it really mean? Because, I mean, you're a nurse. We have another nurse that come on, but she teaches, so she hasn't been on in a while either. We have a doctor that's going to come on, Dr. Smith, and he tells you like it is. You know, he don't sugarcoat it. You know, he's been in the Health and Hospital Corporation for years. He still lives in Brooklyn. You know, he says, yeah, I'm a doctor, but this is my home. This is where I live. And he tells
Yes.
people, you know, don't eat that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, exercise. Drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
But if you can, if you're going to eat it, no salt, no this, no that. You know, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that's on this new fad diet, that plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I happened to pick up one of those boxes. It was lean cuisine, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have
Okay.
that new plant-based food. I just flipped the box over. And all I wanted to see was how much salt was in there. It's got zero this, zero that, blah, blah, blah. When I got to the salt, 580 grams of salt. I said, this
Kill
is
you one way.
garbage. It's garbage.
Yeah, it's like going to my daughter likes to buy those little Chef Boyardee and
Right.
all that stuff for my grandson. And I will go to war with her because I'm telling her, don't don't do it. I showed her. I said, you see how much salt is in this little container? I said, this is a very small container, and this is the amount of salt for one serving, and this one child is going to eat that, not my grandson.
Right.
So that's because they start early, and it's like, who are paying for these things? You're paying to kill yourself.
Yeah.
You're paying to damage yourself over time. We are wicked. We are some wicked people to ourselves.
Listen, we can make our own ravioli and stuff. Or you know what? Go to the Italian place, to the Italian store and buy it fresh.
Right.
Cook it yourself and make your own tomato paste, or get one with not a lot of sugar and salt in it.
Right.
Because I'm
And
like,
store it.
how do you cook these things? My friend's mother said, Lester, you go buy your fresh pasta, drop it in a pot with some water, boil it. When it floats to the top, it's ready. That's what she
There
said.
you go.
He said, when
And
it
bring it to
floats to the
work with
top, it's
you.
ready. Yeah.
Bring it to work with you. I invest in a container that keeps your food warm. And water you can drink at room temperature, so that's readily available.
Right.
So we just have to change our mindset. Because, for example, some people go to work every day and they have to go out to the restaurant. In the restaurant, no, offense to any restaurants, they put butter in there. They put a whole bunch of salt in there. And then they feed it to you. And you're licking that up and enjoying that every day of the week. Even on the weekend, you said you're too tired. You have to call out for food. Guess what? You're paying somebody how many days of the week How many hours of the week to kill you?
Hmm.
You know? So it's important to just sit down and take another look at the situation.
Yeah, like
Look
that.
at look at how things are affecting you. And when you're looking for wealth, look for health first, because you won't enjoy that the wealth.
Right. When you're sick. Exactly. You're right.
Yeah, and it costs money. I see my daughters, they're always ordering. They will order lobster, crab legs, love crab legs. I
Cholesterol.
give I love the crab legs. So they pay a lot of money for these boxes of crab legs and stuff that they get. That stuff is full of oil,
Yep.
grease. I just when I see it, I think my arteries. But anyway, I've discussed with them if they're getting it for me, please ask the person preparing it not to add any of the oils, any of the butters for me, and any of the salt, just that way. And they go, but it won't taste good. But the funny thing is, when I cook for them, I don't add salt to my food.
And they love it.
I don't. Yes, because you have to try to explore all the seasonings. So you will get the thyme, the scallion, the onion, the garlic, and you're in the taste and fixing to taste. And fish, you don't have to do much to it. It tastes good. And in addition to that, you add it with some vegetable. You steam vegetable with it, and it still tastes good, nice and fresh. And they eat it, but they don't pay attention, much attention to what they eat. Sometimes they will. Some people will actually go and add salt. So one container of salt in this house will last me maybe years. And if they're looking for it, I'll show it to them. Other than that, it's hidden because I'm trying to avoid them adding salt to their food. But they work, so they order out a lot. And the stuff that they're eating, it hurts me to see them eat that way. And it's very expensive. Sometimes I'm like, why are you paying to destroy yourself? And they're gaining the weight. They're not able to lose it so readily. And they're doing Jenny Craig and they're doing all kinds of stuff. They have gym membership. They don't follow through with the gym membership. And I'm trying to be a role model for them. I'm working at it because the consequences are too much. Too much, and it's over time. It's not at one time, it's over time. So you have to adjust your lifestyle. You have to. It's worth it. If it's not for you, do it for your children, do it for your grandchildren. And most of our current family are in the children, grandchildren era. So
Yeah, we all senior
I,
citizens, man. You can say it. You can say it. We all senior citizens.
we're we're gracefully wise. So it's important because I know some of us are we don't trust easily and we're stubborn, but we need to be our own scientists and see how things are affecting us. Ask the doctor to please give you a prescription for a blood sugar machine. The insurance company will pay for it. If not, ask them for a sample.
Yeah, or just
Ask the
go out and buy
company for
one. If you could spend nine
yeah,
hundred
go and
dollars
buy one.
on an
I'm
iPhone,
always going to Chipotle.
yeah. But they got these new things where you don't have to really prick your finger too much anymore.
Right. Just a drop of blood, just a
Yeah.
small minute. And if somebody has a machine, they have trouble using it, I'm even willing to help them. We do FaceTime. We can FaceTime, guidance. There's technology is affording us so much. And in addition to that, there's so many things on YouTube as well. But if you monitor, you see, don't wait until you get to your doctor in 3 months for the doctor to discover what you could have discovered in a shorter period of time.
Right. Right. Well, it would be really helpful if Angela Beeson and Voluntary Involuntary Return Mecca CEO would put out a little pamphlet that says how to stay diabetic free. Yeah,
How to manage.
there you go.
It's a managing, juggling thing.
Yeah, just, a couple of tips like drink more water, use less
Mhm.
salt, use more fresh herbs and fresh vegetables, and cut down on the meats and more fish, you know? Cut down on the
Yes.
seafood. Those arteries, that cholesterol.
Yeah. Yes. But you start where people, what they eat. That's why it's an individual thing. Because if I tell you not to eat this and this is what you're used to eating,
Right.
hello, you're not going to follow anything else that I'm going to say to you.
Right.
You're not going to be ready for me because I'm not speaking your language.
Try broiling and steaming and less frying.
Mm-hmm. And people are hearing that. That's a common message often. How many times people heard that? Why don't they follow it?
Yeah. I mean, I went and got some shrimp and
Mm-hmm.
vegetables. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it came with rice. So, but I accidentally said, let me get steamed shrimp. So he said,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to put on it? So I got the Old Bay seasoning. And I said, you know what? Let me try garlic. So he threw some fresh garlic in there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that
Mm-hmm.
steamed shrimp was so good. It tastes better to me steamed than it did fried.
Bingo! Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it really did.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I don't know,
Just,
maybe it was the
just little
fresh
changes.
garlic that he threw in there. Fresh chopped up
Mm-hmm.
garlic.
Yes. You could have said double the vegetable and keep the rice.
Yeah, but
You know.
it just automatically comes with rice. So you could tell him,
Yeah.
hold the rice, just give me a little bit more broccoli, a little bit more
Yeah.
cauliflower. And I
Absolutely.
was
And
eating
I'm
stuff
sure
that I
they
never
will
ate.
happily trade. They will
Yeah.
happily trade sometimes.
Well, these are the things that you could definitely put in that little quick 4 or 5 page pamphlet.